Skate with that flag proudly, as a Cardinal celebration would not be complete without Red being there to lead the charge. So get to that favorite dish of yours, line up all your best friends, because you'll want to view this one with all eyes upon it. Sports Night is next.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Sports Night. I'm Joe Young.
And I'm Howie Spur. We have a lot of fun, exciting things to bring you tonight.
Yeah, it was a good week for Cardinal sports in a lot of ways, and it's a weird time. It's been a weird winter.
Yes, it has.
I mean, we've had hardly any snow. We had one Arctic blast for a week, and it's going to be into the 40s by next week.
Yeah, no, I just went and got some
bizarre.
new shorts.
I know the baseball players led by assistant coach Donnie Bright are chomping at the bit to go ahead and let's just skip right on through spring. But we've still got plenty of winter to talk about. We'll talk about the boys hockey team and the offensive explosion they put out last week against Anoka. When Anoka was here for the outdoor game, the Cardinals outscored them 6-0, controlled the entire game. This game, they scored 5 in the first, 7 in the second, and added 1 in the running time third period. 3 different players had hat tricks. We don't know for sure, but we're going to go ahead and say that that's a school record because that just doesn't happen very often. Barsness and Golan each had a helper as well. Trenton Tyson had a 6-point game, catapulting himself into second place, a 3-way tie after that game for second place on the team in scoring. Caden Elfin had a 5-point game, and Zach Bushy, in his first ever varsity start, gets a shutout.
How cool is that?
It said 20 goals, but it was really 20 saves and 0 goals allowed.
So I asked my buddy, I'll let you get going in a second, but I asked my buddy who's the assistant girls hockey coach for Edina, and he played college hockey. I said, you ever been in a game where 3 players have scored hat tricks? He says, I can't ever remember being in a game where 3 players have scored hat tricks.
Even between the 2 teams combined, I don't remember witnessing it. 3 hat tricks in one night is amazing. Just amazing. Well, we move right along. Cardinals hoping they could keep the offense rolling on Saturday when Spring Lake Park came to visit. The Panthers right behind the Cardinals in both the conference and the section standings, so there was a lot on the line in this one. Spring Lake Park had won the last 3 meetings by a total of 4 goals, so it was no surprise that this one went right down to the wire. It was a defensive battle through most of the first 2 periods. Cardinals got the only tally of the first. Good pressure. Play it to Bresnahan. His shot is blocked, but it's right to Trent Tyson. He puts it into a wide open net. Bounces go the other way in the second period, though, as the Panthers scored twice. Connor Larson's backhander gave SLP a 2-1 lead as we head to the third period. Then the offenses took over. Cardinals on the rush early. They play it to the front of the net, and this one's weird. It's actually underneath the goalie, but it's not frozen. Jack Engberg able to poke it home, and we're tied at 2. Panthers attacking with numbers less than a minute later. Wagner is able to make the initial save, but the rebound put home by Anders Holland, and the Panthers are back in front. Not to worry, Cardinals answer right back. Puck flipped ahead. Matthew Stahlberger rushes on, fires a laser top shelf. His first varsity goal makes it 3-all. We only saw 3 goals through the first 2 periods, but there were 5 goals in the first 5 minutes of the third. Cardinals get back in front. Tandon Bush filling the lane, fires a wrister past the keeper. Coon Rapids is up 4-3. But if you can count, that means there's one more in that first 5 minutes, and it goes to Spring Lake Park. Just 45 seconds later, Teddy Wackman bounces off the side of the net. Shot is blocked in the slot, but Drew Lundqvist puts the rebound home. We're tied again, and we are going all the way to overtime. Rowan Bresnahan leading the rush. He's going to play this one out front. Panthers try to clear, but it's right to Tandon Bush, and he fires it home. He nets his second of the night, and it's an OT GWG, his first multi-goal game and his first overtime goal. Cardinals get their 3rd straight win, 5-4 the final.
Yeah, you and Jerry were doing the game. I obviously wasn't there, but what a fun one I missed.
It was, and it was weird because both teams benefited from bounces to get their earlier goals.
Yep.
And they just it wasn't, defenses on both sides played really well through the first 2 periods. And then just things opened up for that first 5 minutes of the third, and it was fun back and forth. And then it was tense the rest of the way into overtime, and for Tandon Bush to be the hero not once but twice for the Cardinals was pretty cool.
Yeah, I wasn't able to turn it on till later in the game. It was 4-4 when I turned it on, and obviously for them to get that overtime win was really sweet.
Yeah, a little bit tougher competition coming at them this week. They host Elk River on Thursday, and Howie,
we'll be there.
Then they are at Andover on Saturday.
That should be a fun one against Elk River.
Absolutely. I look forward to it.
And I as well. Well, let's talk some girls hockey.
Absolutely.
The Bluebirds opened last week, traveling to face 9th-ranked Centennial Spring Lake Park on Tuesday. The Panthers were 16-1-2 on the season. Their only loss was a 1-0 overtime loss against Maple Grove in the second game of the year. They came in with 11 straight wins, the last 4 by shutouts. Cougars start the scoring, catching the Bluebirds up ice and turning it into a 2-on-1. Madeline Walter finishes with a wrister, and Centennial Spring Lake Park has the only tally of the first period. Well, coming up, they're going to build on it in the second. Shot from the point is tipped. Wastrel able to make the initial save, but Grace Lager is there to poke the rebound home. 2-0 Cougars. Well, CPCR, they're going to be able to answer before the break, though, capitalizing on Centennial. Turnover, June Semling from the top of the defensive zone, off to the races, and a pretty finish. Semling goes short side, top shelf, to make it a 1-goal game going into the final frame. Ellie Newpower gets that one back for the Cougars early in the third, showing off her hands on an end-to-end rush. It's a power play tally, and Centennial is up by a 3-run score. Well, the Bluebirds outshot the Cougars 39-36. Goalie pulled late in the third. Puck gets loose. Centennial able to stretch it quickly to Lager behind the defense. The empty netter, her second of the game. That's going to seal the victory for Centennial with a 4-1 win.
Yeah, the Cougars are absolutely on fire right now.
Yes, they are. They're playing really well.
Straight win, and it was 4 straight by shutout. I think there were 6 shutouts in their 11-game streak coming in. That's
impressive.
Pretty impressive defense.
Yes.
Another big section matchup for the Bluebirds later in the week when they welcomed Mounds View Irondale, the new section opponent. And this is one I think they would have liked to have won a little bit more handily, but they'll take the victory 5-4 in overtime. June Semling with her first varsity hat trick, including the overtime game winner. Bertovic had a goal and a helper, as did Nola Milton. Willie McKenzie chipped in with a couple of assists. The goaltenders split time in net. I did not get a chance to reach out to Coach Gutterman to find out why, and hopefully everybody's okay.
Yeah, maybe they just wanted to get Lund a little bit of action.
They will host Rogers on Tuesday and Centennial on Saturday. I think just like 4 games left in their regular season, so we're getting very close to the end. Wrestling team entered last week looking to extend their winning streak, and they had a good chance with Blaine coming to the Fieldhouse on Friday. It was a battle between 2 evenly matched teams. The Bengals were a little stronger at the lower weights, while the Cardinals rely on their strength up top to close out matches. It's a fierce rivalry, and it was alumni night, so the Cardinals were very motivated to get a big win. Bengals opened the match with back-to-back pins and led by as much as 16, but the Cardinals' upper weights closed it out perfectly. Chris Lattery starts the pin parade at 1:52, putting Blaine's Thulfikar Al-Assadi to the mat in the third period. Up next is Carter Stradsky. Check out this move. The Cardinal captain flipping over Owen Martineau, getting right on top, getting the pin in 3:31. And Blaine's lead is all of a sudden down to 1 with 4 matches to go. Cardinals take their first lead at 172. Kim Ross getting the team a 3rd straight pin, finally forcing Ethan Carr to the mat early in the second period. Had to do some work, but got the pin after all, and Cards are up 27-21. 3 matches left. Bengals won at 189 to keep it interesting, but Aiden Hollister clinches the win with another pin at 2:15. Trailing after the first period, but gets on top early in the second, gets the pin at 2:30. Hayden Skillings adds 1 more pin for good measure at heavyweight. Needed just 92 seconds to get the slap on the mat. Cards have 5 pins in the last 6 matches. to secure a 39-25 win.
It was a lot of fun. Hey, and congrats to Carter Skradsky, 100th win.
100th win, yeah.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. And I just thought it was a lot of fun. You know, talking to both coaches before the match, they said it's going to be close. And, you know, that Blaine felt they had the advantage in the upper, and the Cardinals felt they had the advantage in the lower weights. And that's how it turned out. But the Cardinals able to turn it on late, and all those pins late in the match was
other
amazing.
Way around. Upper weights went to the Cardinals, lower weights to the
that's what I meant. Yeah,
but I think I wonder how worried Coach Tronson and his staff were when Blaine got 2 pins to start, because they did some maneuvering, hoping they could trade pins maybe and be even after those first 2 matches to be down 12.
I don't think they thought they'd get a pin at 107, but they certainly did.
Yep. Well, the Cardinals on Saturday, the very next day, went to Eastview for the Lightning invite. The Cardinals finished 9th out of, I think it was like 15 teams. Had 5 guys finish as place winners. Top finisher was Bridenstine, finishing in 3rd place. Had a pin, a tech ball. I think he had a major decision as well. Skradsky had a couple of pins on his way to a 4th place finish. So did Hayden Skillings. Alex Jean and Kenny Wells finished 6th. Kenny Wells won his first match by major decision. His 2 losses were both by forfeit. I reached out to Coach Tronson to make sure he's okay. He said actually he had his knee act up, and we saw him in a little bit of pain, having an issue with his leg at Friday night's match. So rather than really risk any further injury, that he didn't wrestle. But
smart.
He said he's going to be okay. And he said Tristan Hargrave also had been a little nicked up in that tournament, so they decided more rest rather than push through it for a tournament that really isn't going to help.
Absolutely.
Huge match coming up for the Cardinals. It's always fun when the Cardinals and Tornadoes take the mat. They are at Anoka, the perennial power in the conference. To be certain, that's on Friday, and then they are at Centennial next week.
Yeah, wrestling for the Golden Shoes on Friday.
Yes, sir. Gymnastics team, as we talked about last week, did not have any competitions last week at Rogers on Thursday this week, and then at Maple Grove a week from Thursday. Swimming and diving team took on Centennial, and they came up short, but they kept it interesting. Coach Haley Scholl said several personal bests in this one, continues to rave about the way her team is competing, and you can see it, a lot of 1st and 2nd place finishes. Mitch Tronson had a couple of 1st place finishes in his 2 matches. Jackson Ling was 1st and 2nd in the 200 IM and the 100 butterfly respectively. Nolan Schultz a 2nd place finish in the 50 free. Carter was 1st off the board, and Courier was 2nd place in the 500 freestyle, getting in just under 6 minutes. This week, the battle for supremacy at the middle school pool. Howie and I will
be there.
All right.
Yeah, first opportunity to see the swim squad. It should be fun.
They will also host Maple Grove on Thursday, so back-to-back home conference matches for the Cardinals. We talked about the weather at the beginning of the show. The Nordic team, bless them, they continue to battle as hard as they can with conditions that they have. They are getting races in about once a week. Last week, the Northwest Suburban Conference was at Elm Creek for a classic event, and the boys finished in 6th place, with Lachlan Demmer finishing 4th place overall. That's a very nice finish for him. Ludwig was in 19th. Hyatt in 29th, Wing in 38th, and
yeah, you gotta put those glasses on.
Ryland was in 41st place in 1946. On the girls' side, a 2nd place finish overall, despite not having Stella Bone in the lineup. Law finished in 9th place overall, Demmer in 12th. Legree 17th, Hanawa in 18th, and Fuller in 23rd. Up this week, they are at Elm Creek again on Thursday. And then the Northwest Suburban Conference Championships are next week on Tuesday. And those will be held at Highland down in Bloomington. So best of luck to them. Alpine team, we told you we'd get caught up, and now we have. Here's race number 3. For the Cardinals, boys finished in 9th place overall. Derby Bone leading the way in 44th place. Simon was in 54th. Easton in 58th. Denny in 68th, and Stroman in 72nd. On the girls' side, as we talked about last week, just 3 girls on the team.
Right.
Sides finished in 38th place overall. Kelly in 71st. And then this past week, they had race number 4. Boys finished in 10th place. Derby Bone, who has led them in every race, he missed a gate, I think. He was DQ'd on one of his runs, so it didn't factor in. So Simon takes the top spot for the team in 44th, Denny in 55th, Augustin in 62nd, Chester in 72nd, and Stroman in 77th. On the girls' side, all 3 finished. Kelly in 72nd, Pearson in 78th, and Sides in 81st. And I forgot to put it in there, so we have no graphics, but they do have their 5th race of the year coming up this week. That'll be the final one. And how they do it is they have 5 races. They get to throw out their worst one and take their best 4 finishes as far as how they finish in the conference. At this point, just based on what I've seen, Coach Green is nice enough to send me all conference points. It does not look like any of the Cardinals will be in the running for all conference honors.
Yeah, it seems like every week we talk about weather on this show now. It's amazing.
Well,
because this time of year we should have a lot of snow on the ground.
Or at least some.
Yeah.
I mean,
a fair amount.
I've lived
it's almost February.
I've lived in Minnesota my whole life, and we've definitely seen some dry winters, but this one,
This is crazy. That's crazy.
Wow.
Well, we talked last week about the boys basketball team being in the middle.
As well as in addition to the weather.
Yes, in addition to the weather. We did talk about the weather every week. But the boys team is in the middle of its toughest part of the schedule, and it continued on Tuesday when the Pirates came to town. Park Center came in just at 13-1, ranked 2nd in 4A. Their only loss to top-ranked 3A Totino Grace. They had won 7 straight, averaging 88 per game. During that stretch, they've been very tough to keep up with. Cardinals start the game right. Their first possession, well-designed play. Kenny Jones going straight down the paint. Coon Rapids is on the board first. Well, unfortunately, that was their only lead of the ball game. Pirates scored the next 10. A rare turnover leads to the Cardinals' next point. Good patience by Jerry Freeman for the basket, but the lead never gets smaller. Nice job just waiting for the defender to go by. Park Center was impressive at both ends of the floor, but their offense stole the show in this one. Ari Gooch sparked the high-flying affair with back-to-back dunks early on. And then Mr. Basketball candidate Cash Chavis showed why he's so highly regarded, leading all scorers with 34 points. Pirates had 4 runs of 10 or more points in the first half. Watch this. Long pass to Chang Ring. He pulls up for the 3, but misses. Great save by Gooch. Right back to Ring for the 2-handed jam. Before the Cardinals get to midcourt, watch Gooch again with a steal and then a windmill jam. He had 25 points. Pirates way up, 57-13 at the half. Cardinals play a bit better in the second, but never challenged the lead. Jackson Young had 16 of his team-high 22 after the break, but the Pirates are going to run away with it, though. 110-48 was the final score. That was a tough one. We knew it was going to be tough.
We didn't think it was going to be like that, but that Pirate team is fun to watch.
Well, when you hold a team to 13 points in the first, it's difficult to get out of that kind of a hole. And they're good. They're really good. They've got a number of players who contribute.
Just athletes.
Yeah.
Just athletes
fun to watch.
all over the floor and very unselfish play, clean. Good, clean, smartly played basketball.
Yep.
It was not like, a lot of times you see highly ranked teams that have one player, as they do, and Chavis, who's considered for Mr. Basketball, and that player just takes over. And Chavis was not really a factor in that first half as they built the huge lead.
No, they did. Well, I think did he have 20 in the first half? But it didn't. It was a quiet.
It
was a quiet. Whatever it was, it was quiet in the first half. But they've got 4 players that are in the double-digit scoring. They're really
average,
good.
Yeah, they're very good. Fun to watch.
Yep.
Take notes. That's if you want to be a contender. That's
how you play.
How you want to be.
Yep.
Little bit easier challenge for the Cardinals on Thursday, but still pretty tough. The Rogers Royals, another one of those teams right near the top of the Northwest Suburban. We talked about it. You have Park Center, Maple Grove, Rogers, There were 4 in a row that just. Is it easier to see them all at once and just pull the Band-Aid off, or spread them out throughout your season? You know you have to play these teams. But they played Rogers pretty well. I mean,
they did
by 13. Jerry Freeman bounced back to lead the team with 14 points and 7 boards. Kenny Jones contributed 11, and Jackson Young had 10. Belpedio 9, and Jason Runs added 8. Then on Saturday, they do end their homestand with a win against the Bengals, so that was good to see. And some big numbers. 5 different guys in double digits. They put up 91 against the Bengals. Jerry Freeman, second or third game over 30 points.
At least
this
a
year.
second.
Finishes with 31. Jackson Hetwer played very well and finished with, I believe, what is for him a season. No, I think he might have had one game better than 15, but he's at 15. Jackson Young had 13. Kenny Jones a dozen, and Jason Russ had 10. Schedule gets mildly easier on Tuesday as they travel to take on Spring Lake Park, another team kind of towards the middle or lower end of the Northwest Suburban Conference. And then an Andover, and an Andover team that's right in the middle of the pack as well. Cardinals should compete very well with, but that one's just throw the records out the window.
Oh, it should be a fun one.
It should be, absolutely. It's a great rivalry. Girls basketball team, you know, we got Helen Ben came in here from Park Center. It was all conference for the Pirates last year. We talked about it early in the season. When Park Center came to Coon Rapids, they were really hoping that they could help her get, show that she made a great move. Unfortunately, the Pirates won that one. Well, in the rematch, Ben has her revenge. And look at the numbers. A double-double for both her and Kaylin Green. 34 points. 34 points, 11 boards, 7 steals, and 2 blocks for Helen Ben.
You think she was feeling good against her former team?
And look at Kaylin Green, though, 21 and 10, and then 7 steals, 7 assists.
Amazing.
I mean, that's pretty impressive numbers for both of those young ladies. And they score a big conference win, 76-72, even their record on the season at 7-7. Well, the Cardinals were hoping to build on that win when they traveled to Rogers on Thursday. The Royals had just 3 wins on the season, but with 2 in the conference, it meant they were a game ahead in the standings. Cardinals were hoping they could go back-to-back, pull even with Rogers, and get back above 500, all at the same time. Cardinals trail by 12 at the half. Helen Ben with another big game. She bangs her way to the lane and banks home the bucket. Starts the comeback. Royals hold the double-digit lead most of the way. Great movement on the play gives Chloe Netzinger an open lane. Rogers up 63-47 with 6 minutes left. The Cardinals chip away and give themselves a chance at the end. Caitlin Green's 3 is off, but she gets her own rebound. She gets the bucket and the foul. And all of a sudden, it's 78-75 with a minute to go. Cardinals on the attack again. Helen Ben is going to go to the baseline for the bucket, and it's a 1-point game. Full court pressure is coming. Royals able to pass their way out of it, though. Kinley Colligan is all alone at the rim. Back to a 3-point lead with 17 seconds left. One last chance for the Cardinals. They force it to the corner. Kaylee Bierman at the buzzer. And she comes up empty, and the Cardinals comeback falls short, 80-77.
That's a tough one, considering they were down by double digits for a good portion of the game.
16 with 6 minutes left.
And
that's
to come
back and make a game of it is impressive.
Those are frustrating games because you had a chance at the end and you couldn't get it done, unfortunately.
Well, and we talk about it. Over the years, many teams, and we haven't seen, I don't think, out of these 2 teams what we've seen out of others. That boys team a few years back was very notable about having huge second halves, but sometimes they dug themselves too big a hole in the first. I don't know what was clicking at the end of the game, but I hope the girls do, and they can keep that moving forward and get it going a little bit earlier in the game than the last 5 minutes. They host Spring Lake Park on Tuesday, and they are at Andover on Friday.
Well, that was a good one. That was a fun one.
That brings us to the end. We have a whole lot more fun on tap. We've got swimming and diving from the John Patricelli pool at Northdale Middle School. The 2 pool mates, the Bengals and the Cardinals, take the water at 6 o'clock. We'll have that action live. We'll have that boys hockey game against Elk River on Thursday. And then next week, we get a chance to see the boys basketball team again when they host the Rebels from Champlin Park. But that's going to do it for this edition of Sports Night. I want to thank everybody out there for joining us and continuing to support everything we do here at CTM. For the entire crew, including Howie Shapiro, I'm Joe Young, saying good night.